Today we're going to be bringing you our top 5 reptiles that are not ball pythons from the NARBC show of 2025 in Schaumburg, Illinois. No ball pythons allowed. They are banned from the video. We love to look at the other reptiles at the show, and I honestly thought this Schaumburg was one of the absolutely most diverse shows that I've seen when it comes to reptiles. So without any further ado, let's get into our first pick at number 5. At number 5 from Mike's Monitors would be the Bell's Lace. I think what's so absolutely stunning about this animal is the color palette. Obviously it is a beautiful monitor, but look at it regard us. It is very aware, it is studying what we're doing, not worried, not concerned, curious. Look at the intelligence in the eyes of this animal as it moves around, very dog-like in many ways. Just very curious as to what we're up to right now recording it. On top of its intelligence is that awesome contrast of black and white, speckled throughout. Yes, you have these big black blotches, these big white blotches, but then there are certain spots that are kind of speckled with this cookies and cream type look. Each one has its own little variety and look to it. Very similar to like a pied type look in other reptiles. You can see ones with a little bit different patterning here and there, but each one of them is super cool, super unique in its own way. And many people think monitors are too big and that they can't be possibly right for them. But in terms of the size of the monitors, there are monitors of all different types of sizes. Monitors are very active animals and they will eat quite a bit. And they are, like I said, incredibly intelligent. Mike's Monitors is already well known as one of, if not the best, breeder of monitors, at least in North America. If you are right for a monitor lizard, I can't think of a better looking one than these Bell's Laces from Mike's Monitors. Number 4 might shock you. This is very much a reptile show, but everybody knows that there are spiders, there are amphibians there, but we've never shown these particular species because number 4 is a mammal. So at number 4 from Milacek gliders are these wonderful and beautiful and well-behaved sugar gliders. These animals are so funky and have so much personality to them. It's like having a squirrel that's a little bit more tame. They very much bond to you and require a lot of attention. So no matter how cute you might think they are, make sure that, like with all animals and pets that you bring into your home, that you are the right person. As long as you give them the attention and work that they need, you will get a calm, wonderful, beautiful animal that is incredibly awesome and exotic. With its big, gigantic eyes compared to its small little frame, its mouse-like ears, and its chinchilla-like fur and body. It is a very cool and rewarding animal. It will jump and climb all over you, or it'll kind of just chill out with you. What I really love about Milacek gliders is that they will tell you this. I have vintage shows with these people, and there's a lot of love and concern about finding the right home for these great, beautiful animals. There's not much else that you can get that is like this. And they come in varieties and looks, and they have these cool personalities. Obviously, everybody knows that they're capable of jumping and moving pretty darn quick. Yes, there is a reputation that they can have a pretty nasty bite, but many reptiles, including the monitor we just went over, can give you a much more gnarly bite than these. In fact, some of them are capable of removing digits. This is not capable of doing that. And quite frankly, as long as you give them the love and attention that they need, then they will give you love as well. So if you are looking and thinking about getting a sugar glider, do some research, find out and make sure that it is right for you, and then check out Milacek gliders. At number 3 from Flynn's Reptiles would be a tie. First up would be these wonderful olive pythons. There's a lot about this that I absolutely loved. These animals had such a cool and awesome personality to them. Very relaxed and calm, but very intelligent and inquisitive too. They kind of reminded me of like a mixture between a ball python and a retic in many ways. They also have a very cool iridescence to them that you can see under the light in some cases here, but it's very much more amped up in person when you're not looking at it through a camera lens. I get that idea of a retic as well, the look of a retic from its head and its eyes. I don't know what it was about them, they just have a very distinct look to them that's just so cool. What astounds me even more is that with a gray base, that they're still able to get that shimmery and shine that you see there. These are young little babies that are still very calm and willing to just kind of hang out with me. They're really great eaters from my understanding, and they get still to a very manageable size. As with all snakes, females are bigger than the males, maxing out at about about 10 feet roughly. Kind of on the larger side, but still within that manageable, not needing a second person to help you out range. But the quality and personality of these animals that Flynn's Reptiles had were really second to none. You can see how the way it crawls up my arms here, kind of just looks around. It's very inquisitive, very curious, but not too crazy fast or flighty at the same time. And I always love and appreciate that because I love colubrids, but sometimes I just want them to chill out. And this animal seems to be kind of a mixture of both. It's got a lot of personality and they really just won my heart over. I think that they're a wonderful animal that deserve a lot more attention. And next up would be this Hypo King rat snake. This snake was just so awesome and cool looking. It wasn't shed, unfortunately, but it still looked so beautiful. What I really liked about it was its head. It very much kind of has that rattlesnake type eye where it kind of looks like it's mean just a little bit, but not too mean. And of course, they're not actually grimacing at you. That's just the way the bone structure works. It looks like they have brows in a way. But I think that that look is incredible. It has a very peachy look to it. You can see these almost pinstripe type pattern looks on it that I'm sure would stand out a lot more when it is not in shed anymore. But again, just a really cool animal that was just kind of willing to just sit with me and be curious, but not too flighty. You can see the tongue flicking and everything in there. It just kind of wants to vibe with you, but at the same time explore around. You can just see it creating this kind of almost like cobra-y type look. It's even very interested in the light. I like this sort of inquisitive behavior in snakes. It's awesome. Too often people think snakes are just some cold animal that sits and only comes out to hunt and moves around for that. There's a lot of personality with these animals and a lot of different looks. You see here, it definitely periscoping, giving that almost cobra type look to it. I just really can't get over how cool the head looks. I love the furrowed brows where it kind of just gives a little sense of an attitude in a way. But as you can tell from here, it is all just very much a look, and it was as sweet as could be. At number 2 from Bill & Co. Exotics would be this spiny tail iguana. This thing is just so incredibly cool. Just has this very marbly type look throughout it. Very much an iguana, but more dark based with this kind of grayish and black and white marbling speckling itself through the body. He was also very handleable. The only thing you really ever got to worry about them is with their big gigantic claws. Just like with any big lizard, sometimes the way that they would hurt you is by complete accident, just trying to crawl on you and snuggle with you. But this animal was a complete sweetheart and just absolutely gorgeous. To me, I think I love this animal so much because I've always liked iguanas, but even as a kid, I knew iguanas were a handful. But there are many other iguana types that go forgotten. Still to this day, a lot of people who I know that aren't into the reptile community know nothing of any other type of iguana. When they think of iguana, they literally can only think of the green iguana. There are awesome ones out there like this one right here, and I couldn't just get enough of him just hanging out on his hand there, just willing to tolerate so many people. You gotta realize there's a lot of people at these shows. This animal's completely okay with it. So it just goes to show you just how rewarding and amazing these spiny tail iguanas really are. Before we get to our number 1 pick, we have a few honorable mentions. Our first honorable mention would be this bull snake. I love that head pattern. Again, I just mentioned the furrowed brow. I believe a lot of that comes from a want to mimic the look of a rattlesnake. But what's really cool is when you look at these animals, look at this. We're kind of moving this little card here so that we can get a better look at him. But look at him curiously seeing what we're doing. What are they up to? I love the curiosity in it. And I have a theory that if rattlesnakes weren't venomous, they'd probably make wonderful pets, because a lot of that fear and fear comes from the fact that you can't handle them and get them used to you the way you would handle basically another snake. But I love the coloring and the marbling throughout this animal. Just this kind of the blacks just meshing together, almost creating this almost net of keeled scales. And they've, like I mentioned, got this almost like rattlesnakey type mimic look to them. Bull snakes are native to the United States, so in some areas it might be not legal to have them. You have to check your local laws, but they are very incredible, very underrated as well. And for our final honorable mention would be this amazing looking gargoyle gecko. I love gargoyle geckos. This one here has this almost ghostly, pasty type look to it. It is in shed, so it's even a little bit more vibrant than this. But when I saw this, I couldn't help but notice these awesome pinks and reds and oranges. Just that amazing stripe that goes down the animal with that very subtle faded white kind of going in there, almost like a pink coming through of the regular skin. Then this crimson red going throughout it, bordered by this nice, beautiful beautiful orange. And then on either side of it is a very pinkish look to its skin. Just absolutely incredible. I love gargoyle geckos and crested geckos and all that stuff. I would definitely say that the gargoyle geckos have always reminded me of the Jurassic Park velociraptor. I don't know what it is about their face, but they just have that kind of Jurassic Park velociraptor look. They're just so beautiful. I just had to show this one as well. At number 1 from Bushveld Reptiles would be these beautiful house snakes, which absolutely captured my heart. This is such an incredible species. It is thought for the longest time that these were colubrids, but they're actually thought to be a little bit more closely related to some cobras and mambas. With that said, these are a completely harmless, non-venomous animal, which makes them super incredible. I have researched house snakes for a little while now and just started to love them and realize that there's quite a different bunch of different looks. I think when people think of African house snakes, they think of the brown ones. Kind of reminds me of what people used to think about ball pythons. But as you can see here, there are a lot of morphs, which means that there's probably a lot more that haven't been discovered. And that is where ball pythons started to take off, is when people realized that this wasn't just a brown snake. This is a snake that is not only a great snake in the pet hobby, but a great snake to keep. On top of that, Bushveld works a line of albino that they have named after themselves. It is what they call the Bushveld albino. It is a standalone line. It is not compatible with the other lines of albino. It is a very bright sherbet orange. It caught my attention immediately, and there's a reason for that. It is top tier quality. But you can see here, holding this snake is an incredibly rewarding experience. They're not fast or darty, especially when they get a little bit more size to them. As hatchlings, they can be a little bit more fast and squirrely, of course, but this is a small animal that you see here, and it's not darting out of my hands. It is just kind of exploring. There are a lot of individuals that I interacted with, and every single one of them was such a joy to handle. You can see here making faster movements around them. They're just calm as can be. The way they grow as they age is very much like a hognose. A female will get anywhere between 3 to 4 feet, and a male will usually max out at about 2 feet. So they do not get anywhere near a crazy outrageous size. They are more on the thinner side as they grow too. They're not big or chunky like a ball python or anything like that, and they have wonderful appetites. And wouldn't you know it, I picked up 2 of these beautiful animals, one being a hypo girl and one being an albino. So I am very excited. I've already gotten these to eat for me on frozen thawed. At their smaller size, they were wonderful eaters. They have these long slender bodies, and they have just this incredible coil, and they're so fast about it. I just fed them frozen thawed. I don't need to feed them live or anything like that. They're just taking anything I give to them, and they are able to recognize what's food and what isn't. But I can't recommend them enough. I don't know what it is, but I think that this could be one of the next big things that we have. Lots of different morphs out there, great personalities, easily handleable, almost like that mixture between a ball python and a colubrid in a way. Not too fast or flighty, especially once you get to work with them. And then the looks are just so awesome. That sleek, slender head with those incredibly perfect eye stripes that I love. And like I said, there are a lot of different morphs of these. There was one there called the marble, and it really reminded me of the ball python's monsoon. This looks like a clown monsoon at that, because the patterning is on the head as well. I think it'd be incredible to see this combined with albino. I love the speckles all throughout the snake, and there's a lot of cool variable pattern even on the albinos. You can see here on mine that I got right here, but the marble was just so incredible, and they've already got that. I can see something like this making a big splash. So if you want a pet, I think that an African house snake is wonderful. If you want to breed animals as an investment strategy or just as a rewarding experience, I think again that African house snakes are a wonderful animal. I completely fell heads over heel in love with this, if you cannot tell. And Bushveld Reptiles is just top tier when it comes to education and love of these animals. So definitely check them out and learn as much as you can about these rewarding animals, because I sure as heck intend to do so myself. Hope you enjoyed this video. What was your favorite reptile of everything we showed here? Let us know in the comments below, and if you wanted to check out our full walkthrough of the entire show from beginning to the very end, you can actually check that out right here. And if you wanted to check out our more abridged version, where we actually have some interviews with the people that we picked for this list, you can check that out right here.